Today, I have some kitchen ideas that are more climate-friendly choices in the kitchen. First off, kind of obvious is the idea of cloth reusable towels versus paper towels, okay? A study that I point out in my environmental book shows that the best practices of either using a cloth towel and washing full loads of cloth towels in the laundry, using the towel for a number of years, versus a paper towel, okay, in the average amount of use. So maybe you use 2 towels, paper towels normally when you use paper towels versus a cloth towel. So the difference here is 1.14 grams of carbon dioxide equivalent in the use of a cloth towel. And the use of paper towel per use is 52.13 grams of carbon dioxide equivalent. Roughly 50 times more carbon dioxide equivalent is sent into the atmosphere when you use paper products versus cloth products in the kitchen, paper towels. Here's some hints for you. First off, I have a hook that I put on my cabinet right next to the kitchen sink where I can hang my cloth towel. If you have room, put a couple hooks there and hang a couple cloth towels to allow them to dry between use. Okay. The other is you can use a cloth towel for uses in the kitchen where you have to pat something dry. When I make eggplant, I salt it and then I rinse it and then I have to pat dry. Or when I make fish, I have to pat it dry. Vegetables, I like to pat dry sometimes before using them, after washing them. So what you can do is use a cloth napkin or a cloth towel to pat dry those foods rather than paper towels. Okay. When you want to use napkins for dinner, you can find napkins very easily at yard sales or at secondhand shops. I've used many for my entire adult life, real cloth napkins, and some of them I've had since I was single many years ago, and still using them, washing them over and over again. You can leave the napkin right at the place on the table until it is soiled too much, and then you throw it into the hamper. If it's damp, or even if your towels that you've used in the kitchen are damp, then hang them on the side of the hamper for a day or two, or just overnight sometimes is enough to dry it, and then put it into the hamper to collect until you have enough to wash them, maybe once a week. Try to wash the most full load you can for a better climate-friendly impact, too, with washing the towels. Okay. The towels, paper towels, most paper products, in fact, napkins and towels, come from boreal forests. And boreal forests, normally you think of them in areas like Canada. They are the spruce and coniferous because their fibers are longer and they make stronger paper products like paper towels and napkins. So quite often those forests are harvested for making those products. Okay. The trouble is that in boreal forests, they occupy 11% of the land area around the world, yet they contain in their soil, they have absorbed 1/3 of the land carbon in the world, even though they only occupy 11% of the land area. Okay. Also, they hold in that land 25% of the fresh water in the world. It may someday be that we need to tap into those boreal forests for fresh water supplies if our fresh water supply becomes too small in future years. Okay, so that's a reason not to be using paper napkins and paper towels, so as not to deplete the boreal forests of the world. Paper towels and paper napkins can't be recycled very easily. They could go in your compost pile, or if you have a compost operation in your town, they could, but they're not very easily recycled. Even tissues, I should say, too, which are also come from boreal forest for the strength that that type of wood gives to the tissue. So all of those cannot be recycled very easily because in the recycling process, it would wear down the fibers too much, and they aren't really viable for any good use that way. Okay, here's some more kitchen ideas. Leftovers. Okay, if you have leftovers, the best way to not be wasting your leftover food is to date the containers. Okay, put them in containers in the refrigerator. And here, I'll show you. I have a Pyrex lid for my corning dish, and I put masking tape on it with the date. And then I can keep changing the date each time I have a new leftover that I'm putting into that dish. Also best for the microplastics exposure, which I'll talk about on another video. But best to avoid that, and the way to do that is not to use plastic containers for leftovers. If you absolutely have to, if you don't have enough glass containers, then I recommend let the food cool so it's not hot when you're putting it into the plastic container. The hot food pulls microplastics out of the plastic container, and you eat that hot food, heat it up another time, and now you're absorbing more microplastics. You cannot get microplastics from a glass Pyrex dish or a glass leftover dish. So try to find those. Those are very available quite often, especially older corning dishes at yard sales and secondhand shops. Okay, so that's leftovers. Now, you can put the date on the container like that, or if you're very efficient, you can mark it on your wall calendar what meal you've had each day and keep track that way for when the leftover has reached its good use date, which is normally 5 or 6 days after you've had the food. Okay, clean your counters. Clean the counters first with soapy water, and then if it needs disinfectants such as chicken or something like that, then you may spray thymol. Do not spray bleach or use bleach cleaning for disinfectant, because bleach sends disinfection byproducts into the water supply, some of which are carcinogenic. I will talk more about that another day when I'm talking about cleaning products. Okay, cleaning cloth versus paper towels. When you're doing your cleaning around your house, such as when I clean the bathroom, when I'm wiping mirrors or cleaning windows, any of those cleaning kind of tasks, I use old cleaning rags, and my cleaning rags might be an old towel that I've cut and used over and over again, an old shirt, an old t-shirt. Any of those work very well. Here's your cleaning, your towel for the kitchen, your kitchen towel that you can use over and over again and wash. And here's your napkins. Now, if your napkins happen to get soiled, you can put a paste of baking soda on there and let it sit for a couple hours and then wash it, and quite often the baking soda will have removed the stain. For the smell, if you get too much smell in your towels or your napkins and they haven't dried completely so they get a little bit of smell, you can add white vinegar or baking soda to the wash cycle, and that will remove most, if not all, of the smell. Okay, all of these ideas are meant to help our future generations to have a good planet to live on. So they all thank you. Have a good day.